there's something that was said with regards to, I think most of you did cover the issue of corruption, but the issue of the citizens, I think Gondias as well, I heard him say it, and the professor now. There is a law that allows for citizens arrest. There is a law that allows any member of the peace corps or any uniformed or security apparatus in Zimbabwe is allowed, including judges. If they know someone is committing a crime, they can arrest. So we have those laws. But the problem is we don't have the institutional power to do so. So we have a situation where the constitution is correct in how we deal with these issues, but the institutions themselves are lacking. Which is where people were talking about the issue. Sorry, I'm working, guys. Where people were talking about the issue of if you take the law into your own hands, which not in the wrong sense, because the constitution allows for that. You then run the risk of exposing yourself to danger, both from the criminal and the police, because they are working hand in glove. I think you heard that a sentiment that goes that way, that these people are working together. So therefore, we don't have the power to do anything against them because they can retaliate, catch and release, whatever the case is. Now you become, because I think someone mentioned here that a member of the police was actually involved in the drug, in selling drugs to the community or whatever the case was. I think that was Owen who told us that story. So the problem that we have is, and someone said the president has no power and I think that's a misunderstanding. Remember, we have vested authority to the president as the public when we elect him into office. I think it's section 78 of the constitution, if I'm not mistaken. 78, 79, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm wrong, then it's just the section that I'm wrong, but this is there. We place the executive power.
Section what? I've got the hard copy on my desk. Section what?
Section 78, 78, 79, 80, thereabout. We invest the executive powers to the president. So the president has power to do anything in Zimbabwe, which he has been given by the nation through the Constitution of Zimbabwe when he's elected into office. He also has the institutions behind him that can actually, if it is in his mandate, probably as given by his party before he goes into parliament, if they want to deal with drug issues, they then can themselves take it upon themselves in their term of office, that 5-year term, to deal with these issues. If they've highlighted, remember, as police, as judiciary, legislature, whatever the case, this is their day-to-day job. But I'm also saying, as part of their manifesto, this is now goes to the party. Is their manifesto speaking to the problems of drugs in our society? Yes. We remember that the new minister who came in, that was one of his top priorities. But we know that when it went to court, there was a problem where the court was siding with the criminals. And the minister came out actually and said something that rubbed obviously those behind the issues in the wrong way. With the case of the Chinese, those of you remember the case of those Chinese guys. The minister came in because it was his policy as a minister to enforce and deal with the issue of drugs in our society. Some, especially in ZANU guys, might remember this. But we should all remember because that's our government. We are discussing this from a Zimbabwean perspective. So the president has the institutional power. He controls all arms of government, all. He has executive power. Zimbabwe works similar to America without the checks and balances of Senate and Congress in America. So the president does not have those problems. He controls his party, he controls government and all institutions and arms of government. So it's easy for him to deal with these issues. And so how do we make them account? Remember, we are saying this issue is not an issue of ZANU-PF, it's an issue of Zimbabweans. So how do we make them account? from a partisan perspective, those in ZANU-PF have to attend to their party and party leaders in their structures, however way they do it. Those in CCC, those in MDC, partisan is a partisan issue, because that's the only way we can effect change in our respective communities. So myself, unfortunately, I don't belong to any particular political party. So I can speak here and share my views on how this issue can be dealt with, because I have no political home. Those of you who have political homes in CCC, in MDC, in ZANU-PF, and whatever, use those structures to speak within your local, whether it's local government, because these projects are there in local government. Within your conversations with your local member in charge, those police officers who run the local police stations, member in charge or superintendents, whatever, whom you have access to. The media also must be spoken to highlight these issues. If there are problems of overdoses or problems of youth milling about taking drugs in public places, those have to be highlighted so that they are reported on. The community as a community through Neighborhood Watch, and also so all hands on deck. We are empowered by the Constitution to do all these things, because those are issues that are affecting us as a people. But how do we then address it in the long run? We then attend to what is causing the drug problem. So the causes, if we attend to the causes, so for the rich, the pulling effect is easy money. Zimbabwe now uses the US dollar currency. So which is in the past, it was not lucrative for somebody to bring their drugs to be sold in Zimbabwe, because the Zimbabwean dollar wasn't worth much in the last 20 years or so. But now that from 2009, when we went into a multi-currency system, it allows for somebody to sell their drugs at the same price that they're selling them in America, in Zimbabwe. So Zimbabwe then becomes a lucrative market for drug lords. And those within the police system who can be easily corrupted are then become susceptible due to poverty or whatever the case is, greed and whatever. So which is why now it goes now to the issue of moral competence. Are we putting people in office who have the moral competence to do the right thing? If they don't do the right thing, what measures do we have to make sure that they are held accountable for the wrong things that they are doing or allowing to be done? We don't have that as a people. If my member in charge does something wrong, there is no system in place for us to do anything. Zimbabwe does not have a victim support for this, victim support for that. It does not. So we need to build those systems as well. I know I'm saying a lot, but we can discuss, guys. Go ahead.